Jordan. This is your weekly recap video. This is being recorded on Friday afternoon, June 23rd, 2023. Thank you so much for tuning in today. So in this video, going to recap the week in precious metals, gold, silver, and the miners, and talk a little bit about what we might be able to expect in the coming week. Let's get right into it. So starting off here, we have the gold, silver daily candle charts. And, looking here, this week, rough week for gold, the daily chart, it's clearly lost 1950. Silver coming into the week, after this candle, maybe it could, test 2450, but boom. So, that's failed. And, back to gold here. So, you have an ugly candle on the weekly chart. So 1950 in the short, this is going to be significant resistance. And even, here, 1960, 65. So any rally back up here, I think, is probably going to be sold. There is some support at 1900, but the real strong support here is around the bottom of this gap, 1865. And again, if you're looking at long-term moving averages, not only the 200 and the 400-day, which is shown here, but if you look at the 30-month, 40-month, and you look at that band of moving averages, which I like to look at, that's showing real significant support here. 1840, 50, 1860. This is a real significant level of support. So I think if gold were to come down here fairly quickly, you would see, a sustained rebound, at least for a month, maybe a little bit longer. But, heading into next week, this is not exactly a bullish chart, given that you have the resistance here and a little bit of support here at 1900. Whereas the stronger support here is, 1860s, basically. So who knows? Probably we'll see 1900 get tested this week at some point. But, maybe if you test it, you could get a rally back to 1950. It's a possibility. With respect to silver, excuse me again, you have the 200-day here. You also have this lateral support. Jeez. Starting to sound like RFK. You have this lateral support here just above 22. If you look at various long-term charts, you can see a lot of lateral support at 22. So you have the 200-day a little bit above that. So the silver has come down hard. Probably very oversold in the very short term. So, maybe you get a little bit of a bounce here, alongside gold testing 1900, you get a bounce here. So maybe you're getting an oversold bounce in silver. Looking at the gold silver ratio, given my preferred macro outcome where you move towards a recession and recession becomes the dominant theme, less so than inflation, that's what we really want for precious metals. We want that catalyst to kickstart a real bull market. And so to kickstart that, gold actually needs to outperform silver going into that. So the hope is if gold against silver will continue to strengthen here, maybe you get a dollar rally. The hope is that's accompanied by the stock market weakends, and then there's concern about a recession. Because that, again, that's the setup that leads into a real bull market in precious metals. Now let's talk about the miners here. So we have GDXJ in the middle, SILJ, Silver Juniors at the bottom. One thing I want to note, I've seen like 3 or 4 people who I really respect, by the way, who I think are very good short-term market timers. In the last day or two, they've all been getting bullish on the miners. So, and I think, I haven't looked at everything that they've put out, but I trust their analysis and their trading acumen because I've followed each of them for a while. So I think you have the setup here where you could get a rally in the miners. I talked about it in the video last week where, you had a potential double bottom here, a mini double bottom. And sometimes, you get a false breakdown and then you get the rally. And so I think that's what could be setting up here. Looking at GDX, it kind of rebounded here at the 200-day. Now the 200-day is rising. It came pretty close to that. So there is resistance here. There is resistance at 32. Ugly candle today, but, nevertheless, at 29.50, you could potentially get a short-term rally up here to the 31s, maybe even 32. That's possible. Looking at GDXJ, it's, bottoming here right on, or you can see right here, really close to the 200-day moving average. Again, not the best candle today, but the candle on Thursday was bullish. And so I'm not talking about a huge rally here, but you could potentially see a move up here to this red line, which would be what is that, 38 or so. So there is some room here where miners could rally for a few weeks. And another thing I want to mention, I didn't look at my breadth indicators, but I mentioned it a couple weeks ago. You look at the percentage of GDXJ and Huey stocks that are trading above the 20-day, the 50-day. They're really low. Like I'm guessing after this week, they're probably in the single digits. So I'm not saying these charts look that great, but you have to look at other things sometimes to really gauge when you could see a reversal. And SILJ as well. I mean, this is really oversold. I mean, there's stronger support. So it came down here to like almost 900, you could say. I mean, there's I don't know what the percentage is. Maybe it's like 3% or so from the low. It'd have to go down to get this even stronger support. But, you're looking here, and remember what I was thinking a week ago. Oh, this kind of looks like it could be a double bottom. Oh, wait, never mind. Breakdown here. It failed the double bottom. So again, especially in a market like gold and silver where you have false moves all over the place, from false moves can come fast moves. So even though things don't appear that great in precious metals land right now, and medium term, I'm certainly not particularly bullish. I think the setup is here where you could see a decent rally for a few weeks in the miners. So I mean, keep that in mind. That's all for this video. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope everybody had a great week. Hope you have a good weekend. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll talk to you guys again in the next video.